There are certain advocates of this project-based learning which put in some positives, some things as opportunities which they see that this project-based learning should be adopted. They put in certain arguments which are for the project-based learning. And the first argument which is built up is that this project based learning gives students a more integrated understanding of the concepts and knowledge they learn. So, emphasis is on integration. It also equips them with practical skills. Those things which you learn on these projects, they can be applied throughout your lives. Something which I as a student must have learned as an intern or as a project fellow with some project, I can take that with me all through my life. And whenever I combat a situation such like this skill certainly comes handy and I can apply it. The interdisciplinary nature of project-based learning helps students make connections across different subjects rather than looking at maths as only maths, science as only science. And we always believe science has nothing to do with maths, maths has nothing to do with science. And when in real time you see certain projects or problems, it is actually an integrated multidisciplinary problem. The solution something can come from maths, something can come from physics, and the answer. And this is what can be instilled in the students through this project-based learning approach. Because project-based learning mirrors the real-world situation students will encounter after they pass out, it can prove as a strong and more relevant preparation for work. So, when you are working on projects which are derived from the community, your real world experience is already in place and you can put in contribute better. Students not only acquire important knowledge and skills, they also learn how to research complex issues, solve problems, develop plans, manage time, which is always an agenda, big agenda, organize their work, collaborate with others, and persevere and overcome challenges. So, what we are saying is through these project works, we are instilling in them certain skills. You are working on deadlines, so you know how to manage, how to prioritize, how to keep committed, how to keep going. What is the importance of perseverance? So the advocates say that all these qualities, these virtues in fact can be instilled in the students through this project based learning. The project-based learning reflects the ways in which today's students, they learn. It can improve student engagement, increase their interest in what is being taught. Many a times it is not a rarity that when we are studying in class, the attention of the students goes haywire. Getting them back on the track becomes a challenge. So when your student is more involved because of the project, because of the reality it is speaking of, it becomes easy. The entire experience, the learning experience becomes more relevant. It is more meaningful, and actually it will result in knowledge. And this knowledge will be with the student throughout. It is a kind of lifelong learning. Since project-based learning represents a more flexible approach to instruction, it allows teachers to tailor assignments and projects for students with a diverse variety of interests. Students may be different with regards to their interests, career aspirations, learning styles, abilities, and personal backgrounds. So all this can be checked, or this gives the teacher flexibility that they can work on projects because they are addressing a diverse range of students. So something which we were earlier driven more by the curriculum that this is to be done and everybody has to do that. So here the teacher would have more flexibility. He can design, he can change, he can edit according to the group which he is catering to. Project-based learning allows teachers and students to address multiple learning standards simultaneously. Rather than only meeting one subject standards, one subject say science, maths or whatever, students can work progressively towards demonstrating proficiency in a variety of subjects, variety of disciplines. By measure they are working only on a single project, but otherwise they can be working on multiple standards through these projects. We do not have project based learning as an undisputed solution to the problems being faced by traditional teaching methods. There is an array of critics, there is a whole lot of group which feel that this project based learning is not without its problems. So the critics put certain points, certain arguments against this project based learning. First is that this project based learning may not ensure that the students learn all the required material and the standards they are expected to learn in a course or in a subject area. We are saying that when students they are working on projects, they would be choosing the areas in which they are comfortable and would be disregarding those which are not comfortable. So the designated knowledge which they had to achieve, they may leave some of it. When a variety of subjects, it is argued, when they are lumped together, it's more difficult for the teachers to monitor and assess what the students have learned, what specific subjects they are good at, where they need to improve. All this becomes difficult when you have integrated all of them into one common lot. Many teachers will not have the time or specialized training required to use project based learning effectively. The approach places greater demands on teachers, from course preparation to instructional methods to the evaluation, how well they are progressing, and the institutes may not have the funding, the resources and the capacities which they need to adopt a project based learning model. So this limitation, as the critics put, comes from the limitations of institute as well as the teachers. First, the teacher needs to be prepared well to deliver, to assess a project, to monitor their progress, to choose a right kind of a project. Second, the institute may not have enough resources which are required to run the projects, to let the projects be completed, a smooth sale of the projects. So that works as a big challenge practically. The projects that students select and design may vary widely in academic rigor and quality. Some of the students are working on a real tough project, some are working on an easy one. So it does not get them all on the same page. They are on different things. So the challenges for the teacher also increase, because you cannot assess them all on the same parameter. Project based learning could open the door to watered down learning expectations and low quality coursework. In our spirit, in our zeal to let students learn more, prepare better, the fear is that they may lose on the real learning. Whatever they were actually doing, we are fearing that we may not gain that also, forget about the real world. Next, project based learning is not well suited to students who lack self motivation or who struggle in less structured learning environments. There are many students who are very comfortable when everything is earmarked, when everything comes in kind of a straight jacket. So they are very comfortable. The question of flexibility, the question of thinking out of the box comes, there are many students who would step back. So then the success of project based learning remains a question. Project based learning raises a variety of logistical concerns, because students are more likely to learn outside the institute, university or school, or in unsupervised setting. In the school, they are under constant supervision of the teacher. These days you are under the surveillance of CCTVs also. Or they are working now, when they are working on projects, they are working out of the settings. So there it becomes important for how they are going to be assessed. They are going to work with those people who are not trained educators. So there may be communication challenges, more so there may be assessment challenges. So the critics believe that this kind of project based learning can do more harm, can get us below the standard which we are criticizing, which we are saying is not enough today, and it may result in diluted learning. In that case, the entire purpose of learning fails. Forget about graduating to better learning, we may come down from the traditional learning methods also. Everything said and done, the clear writing on the wall is that we need to change. The teaching pedagogy needs to change. It's time to seriously consider project based learning. For most of us, we learn best by doing, examining, reflecting, and iterating. I give an example here. The young students who know nothing, no technicalities about a mobile phone, they are so comfortable handling it, any problem, any challenge, and very quickly they are out with a solution. So they are doing it, they are learning it by practically seeing it, doing it. The coming with a solution becomes a challenge, and they feel real achievement when they come with a successful solution. The successful entrepreneur Richard Branson, he said, you don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing and by falling over. So this falling would come only when you are actually doing it. In contrast, but still in line with project-based learning principles, the project-based learning guru, as he is regarded, John Dewey, he said, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So I put these points to pose a real situation that it is high time that we will have to shift towards these teaching innovations which call for a change in pedagogy. Project-based learning takes the essential characteristics of what we value most about education and puts them all in front at the center stage, and that becomes the center of our formal learning environments. It is a popular and noble aspiration for educators to inspire and develop lifelong learners. It will be a satisfying experience for all educators. It is an aspiration that we can nurture those students who become successful in real life, who are lifelong learners. And this project based learning is definitely going to contribute towards lifelong learning. Undeniably, project-based learning helps prepare students for the real world, since that is naturally where their learning occurs. Real learning is going to be there when you face the real world. So what we are doing through project-based learning is we are sending them to the real world through smaller projects where they can assess themselves, challenge themselves, and come out as more mature, more expert professionals to take all challenges head on.